I like everything except for country or rap. That's the meme, right? Oh, I like everything, but just not country or hip hop. You've definitely heard this before, and you may have even said it yourself. But even if you yourself really enjoy one or both of these genres, it really doesn't matter, because you definitely have a country or a rap of your own. And what I mean by that is a genre or style of music that you very strongly dislike. Like when it comes on the radio, you immediately change the channel. Or if someone's raving about this kind of music, you tend to stay a little quiet. Maybe for you, this preference is so strong you might even use the word hate. You might privately wonder, what do people even see in this genre? How can they stand this characteristic or that characteristic, whatever? Is the music too slow or loud or sloppy or overly technical? I myself still feel this way about a couple of genres. I'm really starting to not like how that feels. Maybe a little bit immature, definitely really limiting. And it's something I'm determined to change. I have to say, for me, it really is country music. I absolutely love hip hop, but country music is something that my ears just seem to reject like a poison. And it's bizarre. It's like a visceral, unconscious reaction. Very odd. And this has always been the mountain I don't want to climb, the wall that I don't want to break down. This is something that I really thought I would never confront. But of course, that changes now. That being said, this video is not about country music. It's about any genre of music that you might dislike. If you have the courage to not just click off and peace. If I've done this right, I think this system can be applied towards any genre that grinds your gears. Now, before I take you through my steps, there is a very quick but really important prerequisite. So before I start on my path to sweet country love, when you get over your fear of 80s hair metal or dub reggae, whatever it is, there's something really important that you should do first. The process I've created can't function without this. It'll be a total non-starter. And that thing is, you have to be open to having your mind changed. So take a second and try and keep an open mind. And with that, let me show you my system. What you're about to see are the steps of what I'm calling the Easy Acquisition of Resistant Styles program, or EARS. So our first step is context. What's going on with this genre? Why does it sound the way it does? And just as importantly, where is it from? If I end up hating country by the end of this, I at least want to know what it is I despise. But more optimistically, this should give me more of a foundation, instead of just diving directly into listening. Step 2 I'm calling start where you are. If you don't like jazz, you might still like some jazz-influenced stuff. For example, Steely Dan. They often don't shy away from complex harmonies and chord progressions. Or maybe your bridge is the Star Wars Cantina theme. Or maybe it's Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. This step is designed to make the listening that's coming a little less jarring for you. Step 3 is training the ear. See, you have to get used to the vocabulary of a new genre. You don't just immediately hear all the nuances. Personally, I'm going to do this by jumping into the classics, the foundational works of the genre, with no expectation to enjoy this step. I'm clockwork oranging myself here, numbing myself to the challenging aspects through sheer exposure. I'm hoping the music nerd in me will eventually open up to this style. Now, step 4 is hopefully where the pain will ease a little bit. I'm calling it finding the gold. The hope is by this stage, the immediate wince has been softened a bit, and you're ready to find some music with a higher relevance to you, something that might end up in your listening rotation. Here I'll go to Reddit and find recommendations for those new to the genre. I want to find the good stuff. What do country heads listen to? And finally, step 5 is to personalize. If I've survived this amount of country immersion and still have my faculties, hopefully I'll have found some music that I really like. And I'm thinking this part will be fun. I'm challenging myself to find a collection of 6 albums that I could proudly recommend to someone else who is new to the genre. Although, admittedly, it'll be through the eyes of a total beginner. So this is going to be a little weird. I'm not exactly excited for this. Let's get started. So I desperately need some country music context. I grew up in a suburb of Toronto, Ontario. I was definitely not born into this tradition. This may be the genre of music that I know the least about. But after scraping recommendations online, I've realized if I do nothing else, I have to read one book and watch one docuseries. One book, one docuseries. This book is always touted as a definitive history of the origins of country music. There will definitely be a book like this for the genre you're tackling. This is the docuseries. It's by Ken Burns, and I absolutely loved his jazz series. There's only one problem. It has 8 episodes, each with a runtime of 2 hours. Actually, episode 7 is 2.5 hours, so that's 16.5 hours of watch time. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes a day for a week. I'm not gonna lie, I'm definitely gonna watch some of this in the background while I work, and I might skim over some parts. So I'm making my way through this stuff, and it's actually super interesting. I didn't know that the banjo probably originated from a similar African instrument. I'm all caught up in the tragic story of Jimmie Rodgers, the first real country music superstar. And I feel like I have a much better foundation about what country music is really about, where it came from. I'm actually pretty excited to do some more listening at this point. I got a lot of classic albums lined up. I also watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, for what that's worth. Really great film. Just trying to keep things fun, keep it positive. So this step was really easy because all I did was create a country adjacent playlist. So music that I already like that has similar characteristics to country or is influenced by country. The music that you find during this step is going to be really different, right? Depending on what the genre that you hate is. For example, for the blues, you might have something like the Black Keys. For jazz, it might be Frank Sinatra. If it's punk, maybe the Kinks are your on-ramp. For me, I like southern rock, I like folk music, and I don't hate bluegrass. I'm gonna try and use these stepping stones to triangulate my way into country. For the curious, here's what I threw on my country adjacent playlist. I got the Eagles, the Allman Brothers Band, the Decemberists, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, CCR, the band, Poco, the Tragically Hip, and Jim Croce. So you might be asking yourself, is this step really necessary? Meh, probably not. But for me at least, it put me in a good mood and lowered my apprehension for the amount of twang that I'm allowing in my musical diet. So that's a good thing. Whatever your on-ramp is, this could be a helpful step. If you don't want to do it, that's all right too. Now, I'm a massive music nerd, so I don't mind like a super long listening session. But if you don't have the patience or time for that, just dial this back. That's totally fine. But there's no question that you're gonna have to spend a little bit more time with the music. You're gonna be tuning your ear into the sounds of this genre. At first, you're gonna hear all the things that make the music sound similar. These are the characteristics of the genre that make it what it is. So it could be the syncopation of reggae or the dissonance of jazz. Maybe it's the twang of country music. But after that, after you consume a little bit more music from that genre, you'll start to pick up on the differences between individual artists, different subgenres or scenes, and even records of an individual artist, maybe phases in their career. And that's tuning your ear. For example, I'm a really big fan of salsa music, but 10 years ago, I really did think it all sounded the same. Years of listening has tuned my preferences, but also my understanding. So the notion that all salsa music is similar or all salsa music sounds the same, it just sounds totally absurd to me now. And now I couldn't even hear it that way if I wanted to. It's happening on an unconscious level. It's pretty cool. To country fans, this is all going to sound really obvious, but some of the classic country artists I've been listening to are Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, a little bit of Kenny Rogers, Willie Nelson, of course, Dolly Parton, and a bunch of other artists that I'm forgetting, George Strait. And I really tried to listen to each album at least twice, and I was really surprised at how much more, maybe enjoyment isn't the right word, how much less bothered I was on the second listen, how much more twang I was able to put up with. And to be honest, the most surprising part is that for each of these artists, I'm pretty sure I found at least one track that I enjoyed. And for some artists, I found entire albums that I liked. So that's a massive surprise for me. I did not expect that. If you're following along with me and you're doing these steps as well, look for those classic songs that make up the foundational canon of the genre that you're approaching. Remember, the goal here isn't to immediately fall in love with the music. It's to get used to the sounds and characteristics that make the genre what it is. The worst thing that could happen through all this exposure is that you're at least numbing yourself to your least favorite aspects of the genre. And another tip, don't do this step yet if you're in a bad mood. Maybe wait until you're relaxed and you're ready to be deeply upset by your least favorite genre. For this step, I dive headfirst into the murky world of music Reddit. Well, actually, I use Google to search for stuff on Reddit. I think that's how a lot of people use Google now. Like, you write out your question, like how to make an empanada, and then add Reddit at the end. Let's just say Google search functionality's changed a bit in the last 5 years. Okay, this is just a sidebar rant. It's gotten so much harder to find good recipes on Google. Like, you put in whatever you're looking for, and then you get a million results to like really, really poor resources. And you click into it, then you have to read like a novel. You can go to like directly to the sites will have good recipes. But if you're just like looking for something from the search bar, it's a nightmare. It drives me crazy. But it shouldn't, right? It really shouldn't. Anyway, back to Reddit. In this step, I'm looking for a few specific things. One is kind of like already initiated country heads who are giving recommendations to people who don't like country. Kind of like what I do on this channel, but obviously for other genres. And the second thing I'm looking for is country that has similar characteristics that music I already like. So this is similar to the country adjacent playlist that I was working on, but this is real country. So maybe country for indie fans, country that revives an older sound or something like that. I don't know. I'll know it when I hear it. Now you can do this with any genre or style, and obviously not all of it's going to be gold to you. But for country, here are the artists that I dug up. There's Sturgill Simpson, Colter Wall, the Turnpike Troubadours, Tyler Childers, Dead Horses, Vincent Neil Emerson, Sierra Farrell, Mike and the Moon Pies, Brent Cobb, Alison Krauss, John R. Miller, the Jayhawks, and Jason Isbell. I've definitely found some new stuff for the listening rotation. So we've had some successes here. And I hope that if you're moving through this as well, you've had at least a couple of those breakthrough moments, because it feels really good. But still, as expected, I didn't enjoy every single song I heard. And that's okay, because now it's time to zero in on my specific country music sound. And if you don't like country, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of these recommendations, I think. I really think you're going to like them. Let me show you what I found. So I've moved through each of our steps here, and I really don't think I'd be able to listen to or enjoy much of the stuff I'm about to share without all that context and exposure. But I promised some recommendations, so here they are. 6 albums for the rehabilitated country hater, with 3 that are more classic and 3 that are more contemporary. Our first classic album is Shotgun Willie by Willie Nelson. This is a great intro to Willie Nelson, and I'd check out the track Whiskey River. Listen to those vocal harmonies. My second recommendation is Moanin' the Blues by Hank Williams. If you like old school blues, this one will be an easy transition for you. The eponymous track, Moanin' the Blues, is my personal favorite, and it has this weird, heartbreaking yodel. I can't explain it, but it's very cool. Our third classic is Jolene by Dolly Parton. Because, of course. Moving into some more contemporary country music, we have the album Southeastern by Jason Isbell. Recommendation number 5 is Long Time Coming by Sierra Farrell. Check out the song Jeremiah for instant Appalachian ambience. And lastly, for recommendation number 6, A Sailor's Guide to Earth by Sturgill Simpson. I would check out track number 6, Brace for Impact, Live a Little. Now, I gotta say, it's incredibly freeing to find enjoyment in something that you used to hate. I'm excited to try and learn some of these songs on guitar. That's how much I'm into this now. Like, what is going on with me? Now, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Country music still isn't my number one genre of all time. But with moving through these steps and having the right mindset, it's become a genre that I no longer hate. If the genre you hate is jazz, bossa nova, cumbia, or Japanese city pop, then check out one of my introduction videos. Now, this has been kind of a different video for me, but I'll be back with more genre introductions and video essays very soon. But probably not country. I think I need a break from that. But that's it for today. And as always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And if there's a genre that you still hate after going through all these steps, please let me know in the comments. But I did my best. So thanks again, and see y'all next time.